Go ahead and call to order the License and Variance Board meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 28, 2021. My name is Roy Acree. I'm the fire chief here in the city of Smyrna. To my left is Frank Martin, the Director of Public Works. To his left is Richard Garland, the Director of Smyrna Parks and Rec. Also present is Heather Pecan-Corn, our city clerk, here for the official meeting minutes. First item on the agenda is 3A, which is a public hearing V21-076 to allow additional accessory structure at land lot 339540 Concord Road. This item 3A is scheduled to be withdrawn at the request of staff. Is there any discussion about 3A? This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that would like to speak either for or against 3A, I'd ask that you step forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to withdraw at request of staff item 3A.
I make a motion to withdraw V21-076, allow additional accessory structure lot 339 at 540 Concord Road. Drawn by the request of staff.
Second.
We have a motion to withdraw 3A. It's been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 3B, public hearing V21-069 to reduce side setback from 10 to 5 feet, land lot 415, 863 Church Street. This item 3B, the request is to table this until the License and Variance Board meeting of August the 11th. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody that was here thinking that we were going to hear 3B, I'd ask that you step forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to table 3B until August 11th.
Motion to table V21-069, reduce side setback from 10 feet to 5 feet, lot 415 at 863 Church Street. Nathan Corbett, applicant.
Second.
The motion to table 3B has been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda, again to be tabled, 3C, V21-053, increase the maximum impervious area from 35 to 50% for a swimming pool, 1355 Marston Street. This item is scheduled to be tabled until September 8th, 2021 License and Variance meeting. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that was planning on speaking for item 3C, I'd ask that you step forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for 3C to be tabled until September 8th.
Make a motion to table V21-053, increase the maximum impervious area from 35 to 50% for swimming pool, land lot 561 at 1355 Marston Street. Tabled to September 8th, 2021.
Second.
Motion to table 3C has been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion passed unanimously. Okay, now we got one that we can hear. Item 3D, privilege license agent change request, LIC 2021-05, beer, wine, and liquor retail pouring 4454 South Cobb Drive, Suite 101, Zeke's with Ezekiel Jean-Louis as agent. Is the applicant present? Could you please step forward to the podium, sir? And if you see at the microphone base, if the green light is on,
Okay.
if you could state your name for the record.
Ezekiel Jean-Louis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
So this is a privilege license agent change request that's tied to the address. So it's our understanding that there was a restaurant before.
Correct.
And that restaurant had this privilege license. So tell us a little bit about the business and your role within Zeke's.
I'm the owner and executive chef of Zeke's Kitchen and Bar. We are going to be a family-friendly restaurant for the neighborhood, just bringing out some Haitian and American fusion food, just trying to introduce Caribbean food to Smyrna.
Did you bring any samples with you?
That was going to be my question.
Trust me, I wanted to, but I didn't know if I could do that.
No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Yes.
So you stated you're the owner and executive chef. So
Yes.
would I be correct in assuming that when the doors are open for the restaurant, you pretty much will be there the majority of the time?
Yes, sir, every day.
Okay. Now, have you been the registered agent for this type of privilege license before?
No, first time.
Okay. Well, let the record show that I do see that we do have on file the required responsible alcohol sales certificate and training that is required. Can you tell us a little bit, sir, about maybe some policy or training that you may have for staff with regards to responsible sale of alcohol?
Yeah, we will have signs up on the wall that say you can't serve under 21 years old. We also will have the alcohol team come out and do the class with the staff once a month just to keep everybody fresh. Your liquor purveyors provide that, so they're going to come and do that for us. I have United Distributors with Deborah. She's going to come out and go over with staff every 30 days just to keep them fresh. We're going to have a calendar on the wall that'll show you to this date, this is the age that you can serve alcohol to and not to. So if they don't meet that, then you got to check the ID. Plus, we'll have a secret shop that comes in and plays the role, show the ID, kind of get them familiar and keep everybody just on their toes.
Okay. Are you aware that from time to time, the Smyrna Police Department does do
Oh, yeah.
undercover
Oh, yeah.
checks for things like
Yep.
that?
And we'll have our own. We have another person that'll be doing that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any questions for the applicant? Also, let the record reflect that there has been the appropriate and required background check on the applicant, and there was nothing in that background check that would preclude the issuance of this privilege license. If there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion for 3D.
Motion to approve privilege license agent chain request LIC 2021-05, beer, wine, and liquor, retail pouring at 4454 South Cobb Drive Southeast, Suite 101, Zeke's, with Ezekiel Jean-Louis as agent.
A second.
The motion to approve 3D that's been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion passes unanimously. Good luck, sir.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Next item is very similar, 3E, privilege license agent change request LIC 2021-06, beer, wine, and liquor retail pouring, 2995 Atlanta Road, Building A 300, Bad Daddy's International LLC, DBA Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, with Brandon Summers as the agent. Is the applicant present? Mr. Summers, if you could please step forward. And when you get to the microphone, state your name for the record.
Good morning, I'm Brendan Summers.
Good morning. So similar questions to kind of describe your role and responsibility there at Bad Daddy's.
Yes, sir, I am actually the general manager, right down the road, good neighbor for you guys. We do craft burgers, beer, and we keep a fun, family-friendly atmosphere of 80s and 90s rock, which is always great. I am the new general manager, was brought into the company a few months ago. The previous agent is no longer with the company, so they brought me in and they're asking me to be the new agent for this location.
Okay. So as general manager, could you describe to this board just an approximation of how often you're physically on site?
Yes, absolutely. I'm there pretty much 7 days a week. I get maybe a day or two, I get out of there a little early. We do have for purposes of making sure that we're ensuring proper alcohol sales, we do have signs up across the restaurant that say we card everyone, no matter the age. We do ongoing training, as well as we have new material that comes down the line every week. We post up new things. We're very familiar with the BARS program, and we try to make sure that we are ensuring all liquor and alcohol is served appropriately.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Have you ever been an
In Augusta, Georgia, I was. Yes, sir.
Okay. So for the record, we do have on file the required certificate of training for responsible sales of alcohol, also There was a background check done on the applicant, and there was nothing in the background that would preclude the issuance of this privilege license. If there are any further questions? All right, if not, I'll call for the vote I'll entertain a motion for 3E. I'll get
Make
it
a
together.
motion to approve privilege license agent change request LIC 2021-06, beer and wine liquor retail pouring at 2995 Atlanta Road, Building A, 300, Bad Daddy's International LLC, Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, Brandon Summers as agent.
Second.
We have a motion to approve 3E that's been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Vote passes unanimously. Congratulations, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is 3F, public hearing V21-072 to allow additional accessory structure to lot 525, 3340 Lee Street, Georgia Classic Pool. Is the applicant present? I'm sorry, Miss Crow, the background. I'm not done with my coffee yet, so that's why I'm getting stuff backwards. Miss Crow, thank you.
All right. Good morning, Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 Community Development. So this variance is V21-072 to allow for an additional accessory structure. So this particular subject parcel is 0.44 acres located right on the west side of Lee Street in the Forest Hills subdivision, just around the corner from us. The applicant is requesting a variance to construct a 360 square foot pool. It will have a little spa there as well. Section 501 controls the maximum allowable number of accessory structures. So the subject property is currently occupied by a single family home as well as a 927 square foot detached garage. It is a 2-car garage that's located directly to the left of the home. The accessory structure ordinance allows 1 accessory structure per lot. Since there's already a detached garage, it already meets those requirements. The applicant is proposing to construct this in-ground swimming pool right in between the home and the detached garage, right in the middle of the rear yard. No other variances for setback reduction or impervious coverage are required, since again, it will be in the middle of the yard, well away from any side setbacks, and it will have an impervious area of 31.15%. The property does not currently have any garage space apart from the detached garage in the rear, so community development feels that this is the minimum variance required to allow for both covered parking and a swimming pool on the property. Due to the size of the lot and the location of the pool, community development believes that the proposal will not adversely impact surrounding neighbors. Similar variances have also been approved in the area and have been granted when impact would not be negative towards adjacent properties. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval to allow for an additional accessory structure with the following standard stipulation. Approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property and substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions for staff?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crow. Is the applicant either Georgia Classic Pool or a representative of them or the property owner present? Good morning. If you would please step forward and state your name.
Hello, I'm Ashley Barton. I'm with Georgia Classic Pool, and then this is Lorraine Bailey, the
Hi,
homeowner.
I'm
Morning.
Lorraine Bailey, the
Hey, good
homeowner.
morning. So you just heard a pretty detailed perspective read into record from staff about the project. Did you have any additional information that wasn't covered that you'd like to add?
I think she covered it all. I mean, we're, like she said, we're staying in setbacks, no impervious, just need that extra allowance to
Sure.
add this on. for-
Sure. And you also heard Ms. Crow read into record the one condition, which she referred to as a standard condition, which it is. It's on most variance applications. Do you understand and agree with that
Yes.
condition? Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that'd like to speak either for or against item 3F, I'd ask that you'd step forward at this time. Seeing no one will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve V21-072, allow additional accessory structure lot 525, located at 3340 Lee Street. Applicant is Georgia Classic Pool.
Second.
But a motion to approve 3F has been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is 3G, V21, this is public hearing, V21-073, to reduce the front setback from 35 to 23 feet for a detached carport lot 555, 3463 Lee Street. Ben Gear is the applicant. Ms. Crowe for the background. And we also understand that this one application requires two different, right? Okay,
That is
thank you.
correct. So I'll read both of them. You will vote on them individually, but we'll go ahead and combine them for efficiency here.
Thank you.
So again, Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1 Community Development. So the first variance is V21-073 to reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 23 feet for the detached carport. And the second variance is V21-074 to reduce the side setback from 12 feet to 8.2 feet, also for the detached carport. So this subject parcel is also located on Lee Street, just like the previous variance, right at the intersection of Lee Street and Forest Drive. The applicant is requesting both variances to build a detached carport right in the front of the home on this corner lot. Section 801 of the ordinance, zoning ordinance, requires a front setback of 35 feet and a side setback of 12 feet. So the applicant is proposing to add a 360 square foot detached two-car carport to the subject property. This carport's actually part of a larger renovation, which, as you, the board, would remember, actually had variances approved last year as well, and permits had been issued also last year. So as part of this renovation, the existing carport was actually enclosed to make additional living space. So with the enclosure, there's currently no parking that is covered on the property. The proposed carport will be fully open on all sides, and it will be created to match the current exterior of the home. To access this new structure, the applicant will be using the existing driveway off of Lee Street. The carport will be encroaching into the side setback, but no more than the existing driveway. Community Development does believe that the variances requested are the minimum variances needed to create any kind of covered parking on this corner property. The variances proposed should have no negative impact on adjacent properties, and since it's using the existing concrete driveway, there should be very minimal land disturbance. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support both variances and recommends approval to both reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 23 feet and reduce the side setback from 12 feet to 8.2 feet with the following standard condition. Approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Crowe. Any questions for staff?
All right, thank you.
Mr. Gear. Hey, good morning, sir. If you could, for the record, state your name.
Good morning. My name is Ben Gear.
So you just heard Ms. Crowe read into record kind of the details about what's going on at the property and the need for these two separate variance requests. Do you have any additional information to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. You also heard her read into record the one condition. Are you familiar with and in agreeance with that one condition?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you, sir. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that'd like to speak either for or against item 3G, I'd ask that you'd step forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve V21-073, reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 23 feet for a detached carport, lot 555 at 3463 Lee Street.
Second.
A motion to approve 3G that's been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 3H, same subject property, V21-074, reduce the side setback from 12 feet to 8.2 feet for a detached carport, lot 555, 3463 Lee Street. Ben Gear is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, is there any additional information to add?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Gear, do you have any additional information? Is there any questions from the board for either staff or the applicant?
No.
This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that'd like to speak either for or against item 3H, I'd ask that you'd step forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve V21-074, reduce side setback from 12 feet to 8.2 feet for detached carport, Lot 555 at 3463 Lee Street. Ben Gear applicant.
Second.
We have a motion to approve 3H has been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote.
This is the vote for the front setback, and we've already voted on that.
Okay. Stand by with us 1 second, everybody. All right, so again, this properly seconded,
yeah.
or motion to approve, it's been properly seconded for 3H. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion passes unanimously. All right, good luck, sir. Next item on the agenda is 3I, public hearing V21-075 to reduce the side setback from 5 feet to 2 feet for an addition, lot 406, 1145 Queensgate Drive, Swift Home Renovations. Ms. Crow, the background.
All right. Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 Community Development. So this variance is V21-075 to reduce the side setback from 5 feet to 2 feet for a deck addition. So this subject parcel is located on the north side of Queensgate Drive, near the intersection of Queensgate Drive, Kenway Circle, and Kenway Place. So the applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the side setback from 5 feet to 2 feet for a screen porch and accompanying deck addition. The side setback of 5 feet is required per the zoning stipulations from the King Valley at Vining subdivision, which was platted back in 1999. The applicant currently has an existing deck on the rear of the property, which did not obtain a variance prior to its erection. The applicant is proposing to enclose the existing deck to create a 210 square foot screened-in porch, as well as construct a new 112 square foot open deck just adjacent to the porch. Both are going to be in the rear of the home. Since the existing deck is encroaching into the side setback by 3 feet, a variance must be obtained to allow for this further building to enclose the deck. Strict application of the ordinance would deny the applicant the ability to add any additional square footage to that side of the home since it's already it's already at the side setback of 5 feet. Per the 2018 International Residential Code, any building projection greater or equal to 2 feet but less than 5 feet must be fire resistance rated. Since this deck is right at the 2 foot mark, the chief building official can support the variance with the stipulation that I will read into the record at the end. Due to the location of the existing home and deck on the subject property, the proposed enclosure will minimize disturbance to the subject property as well as any surrounding neighbors. The variance proposed is the minimum variance needed to allow for enclosure of the existing deck. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval to reduce the side setback from 5 feet to 2 feet with the following 3 stipulations. The first is the standard stipulation. Approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. Number 2, gutters and downspouts shall be installed on the screen porch to manage stormwater runoff and to divert water away from adjacent properties. And number 3 is the stipulation that was required by the chief building official that the screen porch must meet required fire retardant regulations, which shall be submitted for review to the chief building official prior to permitting. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions for staff?
All right,
Thank you, Ms. Crow. Okay, is the applicant or the applicant's representative present? Anybody? Sir, are you with Swift Home? Yes. Okay, if you could please step to you got here just in time. So if you could please step to the podium. So Ms. Caitlin Crow with Community Development just read into record just kind of the background behind the application and the request to reduce the side setback for the property on Queensgate Drive from 5 feet to 2 feet.
Yes.
Okay? So she described to us in entirety the project. She also read into record the 3 conditions. So staff is recommending approval for this request with 3 conditions, okay? The first condition is that essentially you have to build it the way that you said you were going to build it on the application. The second stipulation is that there has to be gutters and downspouts on the project to ensure that any water, for the storm water is captured and not, diverted towards neighbors' properties and things like
Okay.
that. The third stipulation and final one is that because the request is 2 feet from the property line, that it has to be constructed using, Caitlin, could you just go ahead and read into record verbatim that final stipulation?
Yeah, I remember they told me that we have to use like fire resisting,
Fire,
and then
yeah.
we have to close the entire wall. We cannot have any windows or anything on that side next to the neighbor.
All right, stand by 1 second. Let's just get, Ms. Crowe, if you could read that one into record, please, that one condition again for the applicant.
You want me to read it in the
If you
code
did-
as well?
That's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
for his benefit.
Okay. So per the 2018 International Residential Code, which is actually table R302.11, any building projection greater or equal to 2 feet but less than 5 feet must be fire resistance rated. And then the stipulation says the screen porch must meet required fire retardant regulations, which shall be submitted for review to the chief building official prior to permitting.
Okay, so that's the stipulation. So it means you're gonna have to work with the chief building official to determine what level of fire retardant type materials. That may be fire retardant siding, if there's any, or, soffits, it may be fire retardant paint.
Okay.
You're gonna have to work with the chief building official, and you will have to meet those standards,
Okay.
okay? So do you understand the 3 conditions
Yes.
that you'll be subject to?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody that would like to either speak for or against item 3I, I would ask that you'd step forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for 3I.
I make a motion to approve V21-075, reduce the side setback from 5 feet to 2 feet for an addition. Land lot 406, 1145 Queen Gates Drive, Swift Home Renovations.
Second.
We have a motion to approve 3I to include the 3 stipulations as read into record. It's been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. That motion passes unanimously. All right, sir, again, I'll just encourage you to make sure that you communicate well with any city building official through permitting process, so that you make sure that, everybody understands what's going on.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next item on the agenda is 3J, V21-077, to reduce the front setback from 35 to 25 feet, land lot 449-984 Bank Street, Wesley Thomas Graham, as the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background, please.
Right, so Caitlin Crowe, Planner 1, Community Development. So this variance is V21-077 to reduce that front setback from 35 feet to 25 feet. So the subject property is located on the south side of Bank Street, right at the intersection of Bank Street and Fraser Street. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the front setback for the construction of a new front porch. The minimum front setback is required based on the standards associated with the R15 zoning district. The applicant currently has an uncovered 36 square foot front stoop on the existing home and is looking to propose replacing the existing stoop with an 128 square foot covered front porch that will have a gabled roof. The existing home is currently 3 feet from the front setback line, leaving very little room to extend anywhere towards the front, much less a front porch addition. The applicant has proposed a new porch will be 28 feet from the front property line and will encroach by 7 feet However, staff did go out to measure since it seemed like it might be a little off from what we were showing. And when we measured, and then taking it into account the city right-of-way, the new front porch will actually be roughly 25 feet from the property line. So therefore, the variance request is to reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 25 feet. The existing home was constructed in 1954, which was prior to the adoption of the zoning ordinance. Community development believes the variance requested is the minimum variance required to create this front porch addition. The hardship is not self-imposed since the original home was again built before the requirements for the zoning ordinance. Additionally, similar variances to this were approved just up the street on Fraser Street back in 2013, as well as in 2019 most recently. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval to reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 25 feet with the following standard condition. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions.
Any questions for staff?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crowe. Is the applicant present? Mr. Graham? Good morning. Could please state your name for the record?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wesley Thomas Graham.
So, Mr. Graham, you just heard staff read into the record the details of the request. Do you have any additional information to add?
I don't believe so.
Okay, you also heard her read into record the one standard condition, or do you understand and do you agree with that condition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is anybody here that'd like to speak either for or against item 3J? I'd ask that you'd step forward at this time. Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve V21-077, reduce the front setback from 35 feet to 25 feet, lot 449, located at 984 Bank Street, Wesley Thomas Graham, applicant.
Second.
The motion approved has been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote. Motion passes unanimously. Last item on the agenda is item 4A, the approval of the July 14, 2021 License Variance Board meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve of the July 14th, 2021 License Variance Board meeting minutes.
Second.
Have a motion approved. It's been properly seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'll officially adjourn this meeting at 10:34 a.m. Thank you.